Good afternoon, friends and fellow travelers. It's Brandon, and Ash and Winny are with me today. Today, we are visiting the Riverside Park, which is connected to the Red Cedar State Trail. So we're back on another Wisconsin State Trail. We're in Menominee today. So here in Menominee, you have the University of Wisconsin, Menominee, of course, and we have some beautiful options for recreation, some people fishing. See, we're right next to the river. We were on the Chippewa River State Trail in our prior video, but today we're going to get out on the Red Cedar State Trail and see what that has to offer. It's a beautiful day. It's in the 70s. I would say probably around 70. So we'll see what this area has to offer. It's a beautiful little park. There's a playground for the kids. And as it says, lots of cedar and pine trees. The Red Cedar State Trail is straight through the trees there. So we'll begin walking and see what it's like. We haven't gone very far on this route before. Just a few steps up to the Red Cedar State Trail from that parking area. And here you are. Again, trail pass is required. From what I understand, that is for bicyclists and for inline skating. So there's an actual Red Cedar State Trail. It looks like an old train depot and a parking area straight down that way. Little sign. And then there's an old bridge that starts your journey. And the river is, again, right through there. We haven't walked much of this before. We came out here and we made it a few feet down the trail before, but haven't really experienced much of what the trail here has to offer. And it does go on both sides of the road, so if you are approaching from 29 from towards Spring Valley, let's say, for an example, you can start on the right side of the road, which is where we are, the Riverside Park. But on the left side, there is that, I forget the exact wordage of what that trail is called. It's like the connecting trail. So it connects to I believe it's the Chippewa River Trail there. Winston is with us today after our last state trail experience when he had the tick infestation. He'll be on a short leash today because there's plenty of them out. River's right through there. It's part of this greater state trail system that they have in the area with the Chippewa River Trail that you saw previously, the old Abe State Trail, which is more up towards Chippewa Falls, and that's a pretty area. It has a pedestrian bridge that goes across Lake Wissota, and I'd like to get up there and show you some of that also sometime soon. The river looks to be up a little bit with the recent rains. Lots of people fishing, and out here enjoying the day, even on a Thursday. As the temperatures are going to be getting warmer, we're finally going to start feeling like summer's starting to approach, at least this week. Lots of rain though. I feel like it rains plenty in this area during the late spring and early summer. Very cool that you can walk directly alongside the river. And we did in a lot of parts on the Chippewa River Trail, but a lot of it was forested, more so than this, and didn't always offer views of the river. Starting to see the flowers popping up all along the trail. That's nice to see. And it's overcast, but it's warm in comparison to last time where I was in a jacket because it barely got out of the 40s that day. Kind of hearing some water moving, like more like rapid type. I don't know if that's the case up here, but it almost sounds like you can hear some rapids. Okay, so there's some very briskly moving small rapids out there. Not anything crazy, not those higher graded ones that you would see necessarily. But the river is hustling here a little bit more than at the beginning of the trail where we started a quarter mile ago. Interesting plants there. A couple people out here on the trail today, but the trail is expansive. I mean, it goes multiple miles, so you can, I don't know if folks are starting at one end and walking to another, or they're starting back at that old train depot and just walking until they get tired, but there's a lot of options. You can go pretty far out on these state trails. I mean, I don't have the pamphlet with me, but that Chippewa River State Trail was 37 miles. The Old Abe, I believe, was the shortest one. That was a 17 or 18 mile, and this one I'm pretty sure is 31 from the start over there at the old depot. River's still moving right through there. Some old skids right there. I hear some water flowing over this direction. Not sure exactly where the source of that is, but I do hear some flowing. Now also on Menominee, there's a spot that Ash and I have been to but never shared with you guys on the channel, and that's the Devil's Punch Bowl. We've never shared that with you in video format, but we've shown Instagram before. It's a nice little waterfall that I almost fell down in the wintertime, one of the first times Ash and I were together. So Menominee is a few things for recreation. Of course, also the big lake that they have. And beautiful views of the river off to our left. Some more rapids heading that way. That river is moving. Wonder if people get out and kayak this, because that would be something. It's nice to walk right next to it though. Like, there were times on that Chippewa River State Trail where I felt like I was just in the woods, and then you would pop up into short periods of time where you were next to the river. And this one's moving much more swiftly than the Chippewa River was that day. Pretty day though, other than overcast, but you can't control any of that. The other side is like a hillside valley, almost. Lots of vegetation, which is nice to see because it's been so cold for so long. So that other side of the road I was telling you about is definitely the connecting trail, because as we come up to this bend in the river, there is the mile marker number 1 up here. And through those big trees over there, you hear the road, so we're pretty close to it. Not exactly a mile because we started at the bridge instead of at the actual train depot, converted into what is now the trailhead. But still, we walked pretty close to a mile. With the river rushing along our side. Lots of colors in the wildflowers that are starting to pop up. That's a welcome change from cold and barren forests. Very green. I know you guys have really been mentioning that in the past couple of weeks, because it almost sprang out of nowhere. All the green that popped up once winter finally went away, probably at the beginning of this month when all the foliage started to pop up. Nice little bend in the river there. Hope you all are having a great week. We thank you so much for 600 subscribers now. We really appreciate all of your time and effort supporting our channel, watching our videos, liking the videos, commenting, following us on Instagram. And I've seen a couple of you follow us on TikTok, although I don't post on there very often. I probably need to get back into that. Nonetheless, we're very appreciative. And we thank you all for following us along on this journey. It's just the beginning for us. We've only been YouTubing regularly since January or February, so it's just the beginning for us. Walking alongside the road now. I don't know what road this is, but cars are flying past us. A road on one side and the swiftly moving red Cedar River. Trees are massive. I might take you that other way briefly and show you that bridge I'm talking about on the connecting trail. I don't know the exact name of it. I'm pretty sure it's something along those lines, but I'll find out for you. The one that is going more directly into the actual city limits of Menominee, over by the university where you can see it. Coming up to the second bridge that we've seen on this portion of the Red Cedar River State Trail. So many River State Trails around here. I always get them mixed up. R2. Oh, this is cool. Out of a little tunnel there, water flowing, swiftly flowing. Friends, I'm gonna get out and do another adventure with you also. I'm just conflicted between two locations. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with that yet. There's a nice little seating area. Of course, you guys will see this adventure here in a couple weeks, and my later on adventure that I'm gonna do on this coming Sunday, you guys will see in 3 weeks. Trying to get ahead. Oh, this is cool. A little falls. Right next to the river. Now we're up right on the Red Cedar River now. Pretty. The bridge we just walked across. And that tunnel. It's a pretty little spot. Here's your outward view. Going back up towards the trail now. And there is Ash and Winston sitting here on a nice bench that's aptly placed, where you can listen to the roaring river, and you can even catch the waterfall briefly from here. Cool little spot. Glad we found that and were able to share it with you. Rounding that bend that we saw that waterfall near, we find this almost like rock face, but it's, or hill, and it's all just completely covered with greenery. It's beautiful. The river cascading on one side of us, and now this rock face on the other. Makes for just another pretty view along this trail. There's water flowing like in between there.
Yeah, right there.
And here where all the moss is, you can see water dripping down from one layer of the rock to the other. Couple really cool finds on this hike so far today. I don't know how much of that you can see, but almost all of that is like there's rain falling from one level of the rock to the other. It's really kind of cool to look at. I hope that this is capturing it for you. Dripping down from one level to the next. And it goes on for quite a while. It goes to right there. Really cool looking. Even better of a view, look at it. You can see it hitting the bottom of the rock face there. I mean, you can hear it. I mean, you can hear water behind us. You can also hear the water in front of us. Not something I expected to see today. But, hey, nature has a way of showing you to really never know what to expect. To never 100% have your day planned out for what you're going to see or what you can expect out there. Because right here in that small little waterfall that we found, nature just has a way of showing you the unexpected. As the river continues to cascade to our left and flow steadily, and on our right again, this beautiful rock face with all the greenery just coming out from it. It's just a beautiful trail environment. I'm glad we took this trail because we never would have known A, that waterfall, but B, this pretty rock face with all that water cascading down the moss. It really makes for a special view. And the river ever so present, just right to our left. The sounds that we're hearing out here today is just very calming. You have birds chirping constantly. You have woodpeckers that are knocking on their next tree that they're trying to get a hold of. And then just very slight breeze that you feel. It's just quite the environment. One that unexpectedly beautiful and serene. Especially in that portion where, you know, you're walking right next to the road, but still offering you peace, even with the occasional car. Hard to see from this angle, but there's a valley that goes all the way up there and it comes cascading down with water. Really cool. Some of the finds today. Back across the trail. The river, of course, right there. A couple bicyclists today. Other than that, look at the tree stump the woodpeckers have been hammering into. You never really lose sight of the river here. Kind of always have a view of it. I really find these ferns right here interesting also, because they kind of remind me of like a bow, like a bowl or a funnel moving upwards. It's just very lush scenery here. Nice sunny day. The sun popped out. They said it was going to be kind of cloudy today, but apparently the sun's popping out. Little fence through there, so I guess we have popped up to an area that's private property. But that's the first time I've seen that on this trail today. Proceeding on. Again, I'm gonna go back to talking about what I was referencing earlier, and that is my Sunday trip. I'm going back and forth between two locations. I haven't decided if I want to go to Lake Burnett State Park yet, or if I want to go down into Bluff Country a little bit and share some of the Wisconsin side with you. So that would be Merrick and Parrott State Park. But I'm going back and forth as to my plans for that day. But I'll have another adventure for you. What a view. Wow. A little stream transversing through. And then crossing kind of a drain pipe to the other side. Back out to the other side, it flows and connects into the river. Another expansive view of the Red Cedar River. A little picnic table here, that would be an interesting place to picnic, right overseeing the rapids of the river. Got some more rocks out there. It looks to be relatively shallow in that area. But you can see just how natural it is right here. There's a little footpath traversing off. It goes right up to it, essentially. So kind of similar in certain aspects of this trail to Chippewa River, but in other ways, very unique. Very unique in the rapids almost constantly. Very much enjoying the views out here. Very expansive. Then you compound on the waterfall and everything. There's Winny. Hi, buddy. You having fun? Enjoying his walk also. Some bikers again out here, but nothing crazy as far as people being out compared to the number of people that were out and about in the Stillwater video that you'll see. So friends, I took an information break while we were stopping at that seating area that we found. And I stand very corrected right now. So the Red Cedar State Trail runs 14.5 miles from Highway 29 in Menominee through Irvington and Downsville. And it hooks up to the Chippewa River State Trail that we interacted with in our past video. Now, the other side of the road that I was chatting with you about, the left side coming from 29 in the direction that we were going, that is called the Junction Trail, and it goes right past the Red Cedar Dam. There's a big beautiful bridge that runs on the Junction Trail with views of Menominee in the background. So officially, the Junction Trail is what that is called. So lots of trail options in the college town of Menominee. Another one of the University of Wisconsin presiding there. Now I don't know the specifics of the two smaller towns that this trail intersects with. I don't know if Ash knows any information about Irvington or Downsville also. I'm sure they're relatively small communities, just as Caryville that I went through while on the Chippewa River State Trail was. And then of course it goes through Meridian and then down to Durand. So lots of smaller communities that intersect with these trails. And you know, it's interesting, I didn't have this information when I was filming the Chippewa River State video with you, but the history of Caryville is very ominous. There is a lot of reason to believe that there is a lot of paranormal activity going on in that town. If you're a believer in that, there is a blog, just type in Caryville, Wisconsin, that I found, and I was reading. There is some very unfortunate history that goes along with that little small unincorporated town. I'm not going to share all the details with you because a lot of them are really sad, but there is a blog if you're interested in that shares information about Caryville that we started in on our Chippewa River State Trail visit, which will be 2 videos ago now when this one comes out to you. The 2-mile marker, I like that they have it marked so nicely for you. Red Cedar State Trail, mile 2. And again, we started probably from about a 1/4 mile into it, or maybe a little more than that, just because that beautiful Riverside Park is right next to. I don't really understand why those 2 parking lots aren't connected to each other, because there is a separate parking lot for the Red Cedar State Trail parking as opposed to the Riverside Park. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but park in either one of them There's lots of signs about the State Trail Pass, but that State Trail Pass is largely for bicyclists. And then if you decide to inline skate on these trails, I have never seen anybody doing that. But if that's your thing, if you're an inline skater, you want to break your rollerblades out, you got to pay the trail pass fee. Another view of the river. What a day it's become. This is Ash's type of weather. Getting warm. Humid, of course. But plenty to see and talk about and experience on this trail. I honestly, just from the 2 miles, would put this one as more of a must-do than I would the Chippewa River State Trail. And I still have the old Abe State Trail to get up on. And then I can set those 3 rankings in accordance for you, because I haven't experienced that one. And then if you go up into Polk County, which is north of where we live, you also see the humorously named Gandy Dancer State Trail. So plenty of options around in this more scenic area of our wonderful state. Interesting view there. Starting our return journey. We made it a little bit over 2 miles today. Winston's gonna have some mud water. So now we're gonna swap, and the river's gonna be on our right, and the rock face of the Red Cedar Valley, I believe is what it was called when I was reading about it, will be on our left. Interesting fact is that Devil's Punch Bowl that I was referencing earlier is in this area. About a half mile back on this trail. It's through the woods, across a road and other things, but it's close to where we are. Lots of flowers. We saw a very large bumblebee out pollinating, so that was nice to see. Some pinks even right there. But heading back along the Red Cedar State Trail, just about 2 miles from the depot, old train depot. A little bit less than that to our car. This is the most blocked the view to the river has been. There's another shot of it. It's mainly been right next to us, very little foliage on the side. It's always interesting to see how the view differs on the way back versus the way out. You know, speaking of state trails though, there is the Superior, in the Superior National Forest where those fires were burning. I haven't heard much about that recently. We had some storms that I think really helped that situation. There is a national trail up there, Superior National Trail, and the Ice Age Trail also. So like, just in a general grand scheme of things, we have so many trail options. Even those that intersect the great state parks of the North Shore along that Superior National Forest in Minnesota. Lots of sounds out here in the more natural area of the river. Those hills go quite deep back there. That's that little valley I was talking to you about. It looks like there's almost a place to walk up in there. So on this 2 mile journey we've been on today, there have been 2 areas to take a seat and relax. There's been a bench that was roughly around the 1 mile marker. And then just behind us, there was a picnic area around the 2 mile marker. So hey, if you're willing to brave the 2 miles in and out, bring a picnic lunch, because there's a spot for it. And I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, you're overlooking one of the many sections of rapids along this river. Beautiful foliage at this time of the year. And, you know, pack your favorite food and enjoy your lunch along one of Wisconsin's fine state trails. So, you know, along this walk today, and we've only done 2 of the 14.5 miles of it, but I would say this trail is more eventful with scenery than the Chippewa River one was. Of course, the Chippewa River trail, significantly longer, 37 miles. And I did the 12 to 16 mile section. But as far as nature with the waterfall, we did see a little, very small trickle from the side of one of the areas along the trail at Chippewa River. But here, there was that more dramatic waterfall. There was the water cascading off the rocks, which we'll walk past here shortly. So, and you're constantly next to the river. So if I had to rank them, which I don't ultimately usually like to do, I would put this one a little bit ahead of the Chippewa River as far as a commanding nature scenery in a shorter hike. Within those first 2 miles, we saw all that stuff that I listed. There's been beautiful ferns and wildflowers and constant views of the river. Everywhere has their own significance naturally. Everywhere is beautiful if you look close enough. But I would definitely put this one ahead. And I think it's worth a visit. So is the Chippewa River State Trail. Spray yourself down and check for ticks this time of the year, especially this year, because they are awful. As Winston can attest with his 80 or so ticks that we pulled off of him, mainly Ash pulled those off. They're bad this year, so take care of your furry ones. Every once in a while, you catch a really big rock in the river. Some drainage pipes that'll sprawl out along the valley to the right of us. So you'll think you're hearing another waterfall, but unfortunately it's just excess water. But you can't go wrong with the river views. And Wisconsin and Minnesota both have some fantastic waterways. Back to the side of the waterfall. The nice seating bench. And now this unique site is not even to the 2 mile marker. I would say it's closer to the 1. So it really doesn't take a long amount of time on the trail to get there. That is before you get to that rock face with all the mossy projections where the water was dripping down in such a beautiful way. So you kind of get to that area pretty quickly. Looking back, there's the bridge once more. I don't know if I'll be able to get over there to show you that other bridge today, friends, just because we're running out of time. Unfortunately, I am due at work at 5. It's afternoon now, so I might have to share that section with you on a future exploration. Some water dripping out of that pipe. And here's the section where the road is right next to us again. So definitely starting to make that approach back towards the car. I mean, you can just, this would be an interesting place to kayak. I can see why we don't see very many of those compared to at Chippewa River. There were some canoers even. You'd have an interesting time faring with all the rapids. Of course, with some experience you'd be fine, but still, there's rapids quite often on this river. And back over that first bridge. We made it 4 miles, just about. Back out to the river and the smaller waterway. The parking lot just directly down a few stairs. Very accessible trail, as I see somebody in a wheelchair coming down the trail. So there's an example for you of just how accessible it truly is. And back down the steps right to where we parked. Getting Winston to go down the stairs is the challenge. He does pretty good, truly. Friends, I would like to say thank you for your support in this video, and as always, liking, following, and subscribing to our channel if you want to see more of our content. We appreciate all of you. If you want to see more of a photogenic side of our travels, follow us over on Instagram, where you can see that. We take pictures everywhere we go. And for Ash, for the kiddos, for Winny, we'll see you on our next adventure.